We are recording. Got it.
4th of October, Rabbi Levitt, Pele Yoetz.
Okay, so
Here comes Mayor.
here's coming in.
Morning.
Good morning, Mayor.
Okay.
Good morning. Okay, so what shall we do today, gentlemen?
Mushrosh.
Okay, so let's see. We got to go get the Gemoras over here. We're gonna need a Gemora in Brachos. What is it? 53b.
53B. Okay.
And
And there's a Gemara in Chulin, 105b.
I don't think I've got Chulin. Brachos 53. Oh, I've got 53. And Chulin 105.
Quote 53B.
Right. All right, I'll try on my Safaria for Chulin. Tanakh. Chulin. Chulin is in what? Okay. Where's what instead Kedushin? Moed? No. Where's Chulin? In the diary, Kedushin, Seder Nezikin.
One is in,
Chulin is, let's see.
Seder
Seder Kedoshim.
Chulin. And
Seder Kedoshim.
yeah, I've got that. And at 100 and what? 6.
You said 106 or
105.
105.
105?
Okay. Aleph or base or doesn't matter?
Both.
Both. Oh, base you said?
Yes.
Okay.
105B. Okay.
105B. Okay, I've got it. I think you can see it.
Oh, did we lose Rabbi Levitt?
There it is.
He went to get his book.
And he went, full stop.
Yeah, but I don't see his picture. Or his... Huh.
Oh, you're right. I don't see him either.
Ay, ay, ay.
Okay, we're all here. Rabbi, you're muted.
Okay, so let's take a look at this Gemara in Brachos. Nun Gimel Amud Beis. This is the bottom of the page. Let's see the bottom of the page here. Okay, so all right. Okay, I'm going to start from the where it says Tana Rabbanan in the Brisa.
You're in the Gemara?
Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines up from the bottom. I'm just going to go through this quickly so we get to the Tosas.
Okay, it's on 53B4, right-hand column, second paragraph.
Okay, so the Gemara's the Gemara bringing a Brisa over here about the matter of Nikias, cleanliness, in regard to the hands before Birkas Hamazon. So the Gemara, so Brisa says, Tana Rabbanan, Shemen, Ma'akeves Habracha, Divrei Rebbe Zilai.
Well, I'm not saying where you are.
No,
It's 53B5, Lou,
53B5.
right at the top left column. Tana
Got it,
Rabbanan.
thank you.
right. Thank you, right.
Okay, so in other words, what the Brisa is saying over here is those who generally rub themselves with oil at the end of the Suda in order to clean their hands from the remains of the food, even though they washed my machronim as well beforehand. Ma'akev es habracha. If they don't also do the stuff with the oil, he says he's the person's usher to make Birkas Hamazon now. Before he finds some oil to cleanse his hands with, because that's his regular way of doing things. He doesn't consider himself to be clean before he does this, so he's got to do it.
Would this be soap for us?
If a person would, according to what he's saying here, whatever a person regularly does before he feels that he's ready to say Birkas Hamazon, so he's got to do that because he's taken on this. He doesn't consider. In other words, you have to say Birkas Hamazon with Yadayim Nikiyos, with clean hands, not Yadayim that you consider that are not clean. So if a person generally uses oil to before he benches, so then he's got to do that, and otherwise he's not able to bench. That's according to the opinion of Rebbe Zilai. Rebbe Zivai, unusual names over here. We're not familiar with these Tanoim. Omer, he says no, Eino Ma'akev. It does not prevent him from making a bracha. Rebbe Acha Omer, Shemen Tov Ma'akev. If it's Shemen Tov, it's good Shemen, meaning that it has a pleasant fragrance, and that's what he usually does, so it's Ma'akev. Rebbe Zuhamai, interesting name. Sounds like the word Zuhama. Rebbe Zuhamai Omer, Kashem Shemazoham Pasul Lavoda, just like a Kohen in the base of Mikdash. The mayor goes to do the avoda, Bezrat Hashem, very soon in the base of Mikdash. So he has to make sure that his hands are properly clean before he does the avoda. And not only that they are clean, but that they don't have any unpleasant fragrance, an unpleasant smell that's coming from them. And just like that is so by a Kohen who's doing avodah in the base of Mikdash, he's careful with his hands being properly prepared for the avodah. Kach yadayim bezohamos besulois lebracha. So too, the same applies when someone is before someone does Birkas Hamazon. Bracha over here refers to Birkas Hamazon. So that's what this brisa says. The Gemara brought. Now along comes the Amoraim. Amar of Nachman bar Yitzchak, Ana lo zilai velo zivai velo zuhamai yodana. We don't accept the view of these Tanoim over here that it says in this brisa. Ela mastisi yodana. Rather, we have a different brisa that is the main line halacha. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. The Omre la b'masnis atana. And this is the drasha based upon a pasuk in I believe it's in Parshas Kedoshim. The citation, if you want to look it up, is in Vayikra, Leviticus, chapter 11, and the verse is 44. Just like Jerry West and the Los Angeles Lakers, 44.
Rabbi.
Mr. Clutch. That was the game plan of the Lakers when there was 2 minutes left in the game.
No one washed their hands.
Just give it to West, and that's it.
I hope they all had clean hands.
Well, they're not doing a voda. What they do, there doesn't matter what their hands look like. Anyway, the Havdil Elef Havdalas. How dare I invoke the name of Jerry West? And we're talking about a Muslim and Kohanim in the base of Mikdash. Mayor should protest.
Protest.
Kedushas Kahuna. And that's what this pasuk is all about. V'hiskadashtem. This pasuk says, I'll just tell you what the pasuk says that the Gemara is going to darshan on. The pasuk reads, Ki ani Hashem Elokeichem. I am Hashem Elokeichem, v'hiskadashtem. And you shall sanctify yourselves. Vayisem Kedoshim. And then you will become Kaddish. Ki Kaddish ani. Because you've got to do this. Why? Ki Kaddish ani. Because I'm Kaddish. And how are we going to have something in common to have a relationship unless you're going to be Kaddish? So what does this pasuk refer to? What does the Brisa say this pasuk refers to? What do you got to do in order to sanctify yourself and become shaykh to Hashem? Darshans the Brisa, Iskadashtem, and you shall sanctify yourselves. Elu Maim Rishonim. This refers to the washing of the hands before we start the Suda. Vayisem Kedoshim. This is the second part of the pasuk. And the Brisa darshans that different words. Elo mayim achronim. Those extra words that also talk about kedusha tell us that you have to wash mayim achronim. Why? Ki kadosh ani. Oh, what is kadosh ani? Zeh shemen atov. Ani Hashem Elokeichem. Zo bracha. That's Birkas Hamazon. Wow, look what Birkas Hamazon is. Birkas Hamazon, according to the Brisa, corresponds to Ani Hashem Elokeichem. When someone thanks Hashem for all of the bracha that he has, not just the bread that he just ate, but for all of the things that are contained in the Birkas Hamazon, that if you make a calculation of the second paragraph where it says no delacha, you'll find that there are no less than 9 gifts that Hashem gave to the Jewish people. You took us out of Mitzrayim. You gave us Eretz Yisrael. You commanded us in Bris Milah, and you gave us Torah, and you gave us Parnasa, and you gave us Chaim Chesed, everything. They were thanking Hashem. This is how we become Kodesh to Hashem. Ani Hashem Elokeichem. Birkas Hamazon. Okay. So that's the that's the Brisa that Tosfos is going on over here. So here we're going to do the Tosfos. It's the second Tosfos on the page. It's Dibra Maskil Vayisem. Vayisem Kadoshim. And you will be Kodesh. Elu Mayim Achronim. This refers to Mayim Achronim. Okay. Says Tosfos, Afka lehem. This is specifically for them. Shahayu regilim lito yedehem achar asuda mipnei melech sedomis. That's talking about the Tanoim and I guess the Amoraim that lived either in Eretz Yisrael, or they didn't live in Eretz Yisrael. They lived in Bavel. Bavel is right next to Eretz Yisrael. It's over there by the Yam HaMelech. And so they had a custom. They were ragil to wash their hands after the Suda before saying Birkas Hamazon because of Melech Sodomis. Aval, but Anu she'ein Melech Sodomis motzui beinenu, says Tosfos, but we, says Tosfos. Tosfos is in, you know where Tosfos lives, right? Tosfos in Provence, and in parts of France and parts of Germany. Ein anu regilim litol achar suda. We rather aval anu she'ein melech Sodomis motzli beinenu. As far as we are concerned, we don't have this melech Sodomis that is found in where the places that we live amongst us. We don't have such a melech Sodomis like this. Ve'ein ano regilim litol achar suda, and we also are not accustomed. We don't regularly wash our hands after the Suda. So therefore, what? Ein hanatila ma'akeves aleinu levarech. Says Tosfos, paskening for the he's paskening and saying, and on the basis of those things that I have just said, so the halacha would be that our not washing would not be an ikuv, would not be withhold us back from being able to say Birkas Hamazon. Umihu, however, Anashim Mu'unagim Haragilim Lito Yadehem Acher Hasuda. As for those Anashim Mu'unagim, those fastidious individuals who are very, very sensitive individuals, and they're sensitive to any type of dirt or anything that might be on their hands after a Suda. And as a result of that, they do have a practice of washing their hands after they finish their Suda, before they say Birkas Hamazon. Vadai lehem ma'akeves hanetila levarech Birkas Hamazon. Absolutely. For such people, they would not be allowed to say Birkas Hamazon unless and until they properly wash their hands, like they generally do, because of the fact that they are sensitive, fastidious individuals. Tzrichim litol es yadehem kodem Birkas Hamazon, and accordingly, they would need to wash their hands before saying Birkas Hamazon. So here we have the source.
He doesn't mention at all dirt. He just talks about salt of Sodom.
Right. According, it would seem that Tosfos understands that the Yadayim's mizuhamos that the Gemara refers to is that it's mizuhamos because of the well, let's put it like this. Maybe that's what Tosfos is saying in his as he develops his point. What is his first point, Tosfos? Tosfos' first point is that this obligation to wash my makronim is for the Tanoim and the Amoraim of the Gemara, that they regularly washed their hands because of a concern of Melech Sodomus. There was Melech Sodomus to be concerned about, and therefore they regularly washed their hands to wash off any Melech Sodomus that there may be on their hands before they bench. But, says Tosfos, we don't have Melech Sodomus. And furthermore, says Tosfos, point two, we don't wash our hands after we eat. Meaning to say, what about the fact that your hands are a bit, it may have some remains of food on them. Tosfos says, so we don't regard that as being unclean. There's nothing unclean about food. We just got through eating food. So we may have some food on our hands. It's not a problem. That doesn't make our hands unclean. We don't consider it to be that our hands are unclean. And therefore we don't so there's two steps over here I think that Tosfos is alluding to. Admittedly, he doesn't make a point of saying everything that I just said, but perhaps that's the meaning of what Tosfos means over here. But he says, then he has a mihu. That's his next point. Those individuals, right, who are not like us. What does Tosfos call them? Right? What do you call a person that doesn't do like you? You call him a very sensitive person, a fastidious individual. Oh, he can't bear to have any food on his hands before he benches Birkas Hamazon. He considers this to be having filthy hands. How can one possibly say Birkas Hamazon if one has filthy hands? Oh, if that's the way you feel, then you're right. You got to wash your hands before you say Birkas Hamazon. That's what Tosfos is saying. So I understand the implication of Tosfos to me is that Tosfos is saying we don't consider that to be. We're not fastidious, so sensitive people like that, and so therefore we don't. It's like a subjective. It's a subjective yardstick over here, since we don't consider that to be unclean, and we don't wash our hands to wash this uncleanliness off our hands. So it's not unclean, and it's not filthy, and therefore we therefore we say Birkas Hamazon without washing our hands. What about Melech Sodomis? We don't have any Melech Sodomis. So therefore Tosfos is taking care of both points over here. But he says for people who are fastidious and sensitive, so even though there's no Melech Sodomis, but they consider their hands to be unclean, so they got to wash. They definitely have to wash.
So Tosfos is talking at the level of people. So, but what about we're going to bench to Hashem, and we shall sanctify ourselves. Hashem has a different standard, doesn't he? Different expectation.
Not according to Tosfos. Do you wash your hands before you say a shahakol?
Actually, sometimes, not often, but sometimes.
Unless a person knows that there's something repulsive on his hands, he doesn't have to say to himself, "Oh, maybe I touched a uncovered area, rather a covered area of my body, and I've invalidated myself from being able to make a bracha." He has what we call stam yadayim. He didn't wash them. He didn't wash them, but he doesn't see anything, and so he makes a bracha. What about so when it comes to Birkas Hamazon, Tosfos holds the same way. He doesn't consider that his hands are mizuhamos. He says if somebody is fastidious and very sensitive about the matter, okay, so he would have to he should wash his hands. He'd be obligated to wash his hands, says Tosfos, before Birkas Hamazon. But that's for fastidious individuals.
I don't consider the food on my hand as being actually dirty as such, because as you said before, we've actually eaten it already. but it's to handle a Birkas Hamazon book or something like that, or to read from a sefer for the table, something like that. That's it's not on to have, say, oily hands from chicken turning over the pages.
Okay, so according to Tosfos, you'd have to wash my machronim. You're obligated to wash my machronim.
Hmm.
But
But I don't do that all the time. Only if I need to. Otherwise, it's fine.
According to
Well,
Tosfos,
yeah.
there's nothing intrinsically unclean about having hands that may have something on them.
Food. No, I agree. I agree.
We're not talking about things that are absolutely unclean, that like excrement or urine or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's a different matter. But just food,
Mm.
right? If there's food, if there's food in the basic Knesset, are you allowed to daven Shmon Esrei there when there's the food over there? Is there something unclean about that food?
No. But actually, on that point, I think you're not supposed to eat in a Beit Knesset unless it's been. Oh, that's in a shul. That's a shul, isn't it? Unless it's been declared on its inauguration.
Yeah, true. But our shuls are generally it's generally understood that there's going to be a kiddush in the shul. There's going to be a shul. They don't do it right in front of the Aron Kodesh. They do it generally in a different area than where the actual davening takes place.
Yeah.
But it's not considered to be unclean. Whereas if you had a person, this is what I've been my chavrus is in the morning. He has a situation where there is an individual who is comes to the shul, and when he needs to relieve himself, he goes to the bathroom, but a lot of it ends up getting on his pants and on his clothing, and he doesn't see anything. Doesn't seem to see anything wrong with this, and the truth of the matter is that we've been investigating the matter, and it's a big shaila. It's not really a big shaila. It's absolutely forbidden to daven in that shul, to take out the Sefer Torah, to wear tefillin in front of it's like it's like a chamber pot. Person's a walking chamber pot. The stench is noticeable. Maybe not on the other end of the shul, and that's what people thought, that they would just go to the other end of the shul. But in any case, without getting into the whole details of this situation over here, he's already decided that he's going to have to daven in another minyan. But that is a different matter. That the halacha regards as something which there's like 13 simanim in Shulchan Aruch about saying Krishma, saying Shmon Esrei in such a situation. But food, there's nothing unclean about food. If a person, that's the way Tosfos sees it. If a person thinks there's something wrong with it, okay, so he should wash. He should wash then. But intrinsically, there's nothing wrong with it, says Tosfos. And so therefore, someone who's not doesn't think there's anything wrong with it can go right ahead and say Birkas Hamazon without washing my machronim.
it's interesting to me that we're getting a completely different perspective from Tosfos on this word ma'angim than we had yesterday. Yesterday, we were reading a source that said that women are mongin, and therefore they don't have to wash because their hands didn't get dirty because they're so fastidious that they're very careful to keep their hands clean and they don't have to wash. Now Tosfos is taking the exact opposite perspective on this word.
Well, the point is that the what you're quoting was from one of the poskim, who was Malamed Skus. He was trying to validate, we'll call it, the overwhelming custom of women to not wash my macaroni.
Right.
So you're right that precisely because of the fact that they are very fastidious generally, so first of all, they won't even eat with their hands. They'll only eat with a knife and a fork and a spoon, and they generally don't get anything on their hands. But what you have to look up in the Google when, at least according to Google, I don't know when, according to Tosfos, I don't know whether Tosfos had a fork and a knife. I'm not sure.
Oh, maybe that's the difference. Maybe in those days they didn't. They always ate with their hands, and nowadays we don't.
Yeah, you know that famous. You know the famous joke.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There's a famous joke that that some people say about. They say, "Minag avosenu biadenu." Now, this generally means in the poskim, in the halachic literature, it means this is the custom of our predecessors, and we have it now in our hands, and therefore we are duty bound to honor the custom of our forefathers, of our fathers, our grandfathers, and his father, because that was their established custom, and we're required to do like that, even though it's not a halacha, and not everyone in Klal Yisrael does it, but we have it in our family as a heritage. That's the general. That's the basic. That's what it means. Minag avosenu biodenu. But there's some who want to say, just a joke, really. They say minag avosenu. It was the custom of our fathers biodenu to do with the hands. They would eat with the hands. Biodenu. That's how they would eat. And so
we got to do that too.
That's the story. Today, I don't know. With people, I don't know what Amy Vanderbilt has to say about eating chicken with your hands, but I have observed that very few people, except for children, eat chicken with their hands, even though they can't get all of the meat off the bone. But chas v'shalom, to pick up the chicken with your hands, is it usher? No. Not us. You see, that's why we have my machronim. That's why we have that's why there's these halachas of yadayim mizuhamos, and there's even some like Tosfos that say that we don't consider that to be dirty. There's nothing dirty about it.
Yeah. I eat chicken bone with my hands sometimes. What about a napkin? Is that a substitute for washing? Because no.
Yeah, if you want, I mean, it'll if you want to. Well, look, it says, we'll say it like this. Yeah. See, Tosfos is taking on now the unspoken assumption that Tosfos is taking as a given, of course, is that that if this was a gezerah, if it was a takana of Chazal, so it was only, like Tosfos says in his first comment, in his first words, it was only for those who were who had the issue of a Melech Sodomus. They had the issue. They had to deal with Melech Sodomus, and so therefore the Chazal made it takana for the people who have Melech Sodomus in their lives, so that they have to be careful to do an atila. But Tosfos says is that for us, we live in Europe. We live thousands of miles away from Melech Sodomus, if there still is anything like that today, and we don't have anything to do with it. So this is not our issue. We don't have such an issue. The only issue that's remaining is, what about the fact that your hands have food on them, or grease on them, or some other type of material on them as a result of the Suda? On that, Tosfos doesn't he doesn't even get into it, really. I'm just explaining a lot more that he doesn't say. He says, we don't wash our hands before the Suda. Oh, people who are fastidious, anashim miuganim. Oh, so they have to wash. Okay, but there's no binding obligation which requires you to wash your hands, according to Tosfos. How would Tosfos understand this drasha that the Gemara is saying on this pasuk? How does Tosfos understand? Right, the Gemara said, "Vayisem kadoshim," and you shall be holy. What does that mean? Elu mayim achronim. How does Tosfos get around the fact that the Brisa seems to be saying, based upon a pasuk in the Chumash, that mayim achronim is necessary in order to be kodesh before Hashem?
He says it only applies to Melech Sodomis.
Say,
That food is not dirty.
okay, so he'll say that the only binding obligation that there would be is because of Melech Sodomis. Truth to be told, now we get to the matter of the. See, the Tosfos is not the end of the story, but we're all out of time.
Okay.
We have to look at the rush. We have to look at the rush.
Good.
Okay,
That
so
gives us something to do tomorrow.
we have no time. Okay. The rush points out a very, very important opens the whole subject over here. So we'll conclude with this Tosfos here right now. And so we see that this by the way, this Tosfos is the source, like we said yesterday, it is the source for what the Shulchan Aruch said, Yesh Omrim Shelo Nogu Lito Yadayim. Right? The very end of this, the Beragola said, who gave them the right to say, oh, we don't do this? Tosfos. Okay. We say goodbye to our Cohen. Mayor.
Have a good day.
Have a good day, man.
Okay,
See you,
thank you.
Mayor.
Have a
Bye
great
now.
day.
Take care, Mayor.
Okay, see you later, hopefully.
Ezrat Hashem. Oh, you have a shear.